I feel sorry for myself because I gotta go after you. I I don't even know what to say. The little piece that I have prepared is going to pale in comparison to what you said. But there's a few things that I just wanted to touch on to kind of piggyback off of you, Dr. Cruz, and to really kind of close us out. Where I work at in Sacramento, the Del Paso Heights community, about a month ago, we had a young lady, 9-year-old girl who was killed, drive-by shooting. Young man who was a target was at the park. He was on IG Live. The people saw him. They said he was at the park. They came to the park. The young lady, the 9-year-old, got shot and killed. Her mother was shot, was in critical, but she survived. The mother's daughter, the cousin was shot. That night, we had 2 more shootings, right? In retaliation, another 2 dead. And so I bring that up just to point out that, you know, while everything is happening in this country, I'll never forget this back in, I think it was May, June, when we were protesting what was happening to George Floyd. I literally dropped my daughter off at a protest at the state capitol. And then I proceeded to the community that I work in because that very night, the night before the protest, there was a homicide. And the stark contrast between seeing my daughter at a rally where people were up in arms because of what happened all the way across the country, and then to arrive on scene and see the caution tape, and the only people that are out there are the people that knew the young man and the police. In Sacramento, we have seen about a 30% increase in homicides this year. Oakland has crossed the century threshold already and is outpacing its numbers from last year. Chicago almost has 700 homicides this year compared to 450 homicides. And to just put that in perspective, the state of Mississippi has 450 homicides, period. The city of Chicago has 700. All across the nation, our communities have been crying out and saying how much pain they are in, and the only way that we can respond is by hurting each other. They say hurt people, but the thing is that when you cannot hurt the people that have hurt you, you hurt the people that are closest to you. And we have continued to make decisions. Now listen, I say all of this not condemning anyone who made the decision that they felt was best in regards to the pandemic, but I am saying that many of those decisions were made in lieu of consideration for our communities that are most vulnerable. Our communities that are most vulnerable to economic insecurity, to food insecurity, to substance abuse issues, to trauma. And the result of that is that more people have been hurt this year than ever before. But there's something that you should know about pain. There's something you should know about destruction. There is something you should know about the cyclicalness of life. And that is, after every storm, the sun does shine. Now, you say, well, Doc, how do you know this? Well, you know, my native brother and sisters, they used to have this policy. It's actually a biblical principle, but they used to do it too. But every so often, I think it was like every 5 to 7 years, they would burn the crops. They would burn the crops because the soil needed to be renewed. And then on the back end of burnt crops, they would get harvests that were more bountiful and fruitful than before the fire. I watched this show on TV. It's called, oh man, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't even think of the name, but it's this British show where they build homes. In fact, America has made a whole industry off of renovation. And the thing that we know about renovations is it's its most ugliest when the demolition is occurring. But if you wait a little while into the episode, pretty soon you'll get the reveal. Something that was even better than what stood there previously is born. What I'm trying to say is that 2020 has been a year of challenge, a year of opportunity, a year of obstacle. But if you believe like I believe, on the other end of this is going to be growth, is going to be abundance, is going to be prosperity unlike we have ever seen before. And the reason why I believe that is because my community has never hurt this bad before. It has never been this dire. It's almost like standing in the middle of a renovation while the bulldozer comes and knocks down all the walls around you. But I'm telling you, with people like myself, with people like Dr. Santiago, with people like Dr. Cruz, with people like with all of us that are in here today, all we have to do is pick up a stick, take it out to the dumpster, throw it in, come back and get another stick. And once we get all the debris cleared, then we just have to pick up our hammer. Some of us have to pick up the drill. Some of us have to pick up the paintbrush. Some of us have to pick up whatever it is that our tools and our skills allow us to pick up. But I'm telling you, on the other side of this demolition is a renovation that our community is going to really prosper and build from. There's a clip from Dr. Martin Luther King that I want to play for you all real quick. But to me, it highlights where we're at. And I'll come back on it with my own version of what he is saying to kind of end us out today. So here we go. This is one of my favorite quotes from Dr. King.
What happened is that some of our philosophers got off base. And one of the great problems of history is that the concepts of love and power have usually been contrasted as opposites, polar opposites. So that love is identified with a resignation of power and power with a denial of love. It was this misinterpretation that caused the philosopher Nietzsche, who was the philosopher of the will to power, to reject the Christian concept of love. It was the same misinterpretation which induced Christian theologians to reject Nietzsche's philosophy of the will to power in the name of the Christian idea of love. Now we got to get this thing right. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best. Power at its best is love, implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love.
So that is one of my favorite quotes of Dr. Martin Luther King. Is not one that you hear often, but just that last piece, justice is love correcting everything that stands against love. And that's something that I feel like we have to embrace as we move forward into 2020. The last thing I want to just leave you with is just this idea of peace. Just like Dr. Martin Luther King stated that we have misunderstood the concepts of power and love, I believe we've also misunderstood the concept of peace. I'm a math person, right? So I think of things in terms of mathematical concepts. And so if you would, I think we think of peace as a 2D object and we don't think of it in 3 dimensions. Well, what I mean by that is that peace is not static, it is dynamic. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the cyclical process of conflict and harmony. You cannot have peace unless you also have conflict, because out of conflict comes harmony. And out of harmony comes a need to stir up more conflict, right? It is the way that peace actually lives and survives and becomes an evolving concept and idea and state of being, as opposed to this static position that we get in, and we become so afraid of conflict that when conflict happens, we misinterpret it as something else, but really it is just peace renewing itself. Just like 2020 has been a year of conflict, but this year of conflict for 2020 is just life renewing itself. And so 2021 is going to be an opportunity for us to do, as Dr. Cruz said, which is hold our folks accountable, our leaders accountable. But it's also going to be an opportunity for us to continue to put the rubber against the road. What I don't want us to do is feel as though we've won something in this election, because we really haven't won anything. I'll be the first person to say that I've gone over to the bright side, that we have to start asking questions about all of our political leaders and what have you done for our community. It's not about my political leanings. It's not about whether I'm liberal, conservative. It's not about any of the, it's about, can I walk in my community and see the material difference between when you got elected and before you got elected. It's really that simple. And so 2021, I believe, is our opportunity to continue to push the envelope, to continue to grind even harder, and actually start to bring in the harvest that this year is laying the foundation for. Shameless plug, if you haven't checked out my TV show, please go check out Blackademics. Just go ahead and YouTube and you can search it, BLACKADMX, Blackademics. I promise you, once you watch it, you'll be like, this is nothing like I've ever seen before. And we're gonna just continue to build. To all of our speakers today, Paisley, Rabbi, Brother Ashanti, Dr. Fuller, Mr. Harper, and Dr. Cruz. We appreciate all of you all for just taking your time out and joining us. This has been, I want to say this has been a success for us to have this event. We've never done anything like this before, but I was really encouraged by everything that I heard and the way that it played out. So, and thank you for bringing that fire, Dr. Cruz. You really, you sent us, I'm glad things worked out that you were our last speaker of the day, because that's the note that we needed to be sent out on. Louise, Michael, do you all have anything to say before we? Dr. Cruz, you got anything else before we sign off?
No, just thank you. Your words are powerful. And Dr. King, being an ancestor, will definitely be proud of you. I can't wait to check out your stuff, but just you have allowed me to see 2020 with new eyes, as there is a time to burn the crops. There is a time for demolition. And thank you for helping me see with new eyes. So just appreciate you deeply.
All right. With that, I will bid adieu to everyone. Thank you. Remember, if you have someone that hasn't seen this, or if you didn't get to catch the whole day, we'll have the YouTube link up here very soon. Thank you all again, and peace out.